We made a deal.
What was the
I
agreement?
had to make his body disappear.
County 911.
Hello, I'm trying to escape from a creepy guy. He had tied me up in his basement.
Excuse me, what is that?
And he's chasing me. Help me.
I took him upstairs and stabbed him with the knife. He screamed, then stopped. Then I hung him by the ankles. I cut off his testicles, and after cooking them, I ate them.
This is Mark Latunski, 50 years old. He is being interrogated after the police found the body of 25-year-old Kevin Bacon in his basement.
Kevin was chained by the feet and was wearing a BDSM outfit. The detectives, during the interrogation, will realize that he is different from any other criminal they have interrogated until that moment. They are dealing with a psychopathic, sensual cannibal killer. John, thank you for being here. I know it's not easy for you, especially after the news of the last few days.
You chose to talk to us after you managed to escape and call 911.
Yes, I'm out. At the time, my family didn't know about that I was gay. I met Mark on a dating app, and after a couple of weeks, I went to his house.
What happened when you met?
At first, he was kind. He offered me a drink. We talked about the house. I only remember that my head was spinning, and I couldn't stay awake. When I woke up, I heard loud music. I was weak. I felt very cold. He had stripped me and put some kind of kilt on me. I was on the ground in a basement and he was kind of dancing in front of a table. Then as soon as he turned around, I tried to move. I remember I couldn't see well and had tape on my mouth.
911.
I'm trying to escape from a guy who had chained me in his basement. He's behind me.
All right, I need you to go to a safe place. Are you planning to run to someone's house? Where are you now? Can you get away?
Here too is running towards the house. A guy is trying to chase him. I'm trying to get away. Okay, I need an address where you...
Did you get an address? Yes. I'm trying to get it.
910 West.
910.
Okay.
I hear like a loud knock on my door and I jump up. Like my dogs are barking, as you can probably hear, and this guy has his face covered with a rag. Help me. Help me. He's behind me. He's behind me. Completely terrified. A man arrives in my driveway with a silver SUV, gets out, and is wearing the same outfit as this guy, which is a leather skirt and a couple of belts crossed over his body. No shoes, no shirt. This guy grabs my arm and hides behind me.
Keep him away from me. Keep him away from me.
John never filed a complaint, and the police dismissed the whole event as a trivial lover's quarrel gone wrong. A case closed too quickly. 11 months later, in that same basement, Mark Latunski would kidnap, torture, and kill Kevin Bacon. The authorities had the monster in their hands. They could have stopped him. They should have stopped him. Instead, they handed him back the keys to his slaughterhouse, condemning Kevin to a horrific fate. The following case contains extremely raw, real footage and reconstructions of actual events that may be disturbing.
It is recommended for viewing only by a non-sensitive audience. The reality of this case surpasses all imagination.
The search for 25-year-old Kevin Bacon was halted after the Michigan State Police stated they found Bacon's body in this house in Bennington Township this morning.
It seems there was a strange guy living down there.
The state police have arrested a 50-year-old man for open murder.
December 24th, 2019. Kevin is heading to the appointment set on Grindr with the stranger. On the way, he calls his friend Crystal for a quick last goodbye. He doesn't know it yet, but this will be his last contact.
I'm going on a date. I look cooking cold pint. See you tomorrow at Christmas lunch.
Kevin could not have known, but what seemed to him like a simple date would actually turn out to be a meeting with one of the most sick and disturbed minds ever documented. The evening of December 25th.
No, I was
The
passing
disappearance
the rope.
of Kevin. Investigators began to reconstruct his last hours, and immediately a disturbing detail emerged. A few hours before disappearing, Kevin had met a man he knew from a dating app. The agents traced back to the account of a 50-year-old from Michigan, Mark Latunski. On the morning of December 28th, a patrol headed towards an old, isolated house on the outskirts of Bennington Township. What the officers were about to find would turn a simple missing person case into one of the most disturbing scenes ever documented.
Hello, sir. Could you step out onto the porch for a moment? We need to talk to you.
All right, I'm coming right away.
I imagine you know why we are here, Mr. Latunski.
It's about the missing boy. He's downstairs, but I warn you, he's not the same as before.
We began to search the house. The house appeared clean, but as soon as my men went down to the basement, I heard one of them shout to arrest the suspect.
While the police meticulously searched Mark's house, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
Me and one of the other agents stayed with Mr. Latunski, simply conversing with him while they were searching the house. Mark seemed very calm and composed, not nervous at all.
As they were about to conclude, they were drawn to a door in the basement. When the police entered the room, an unpleasant odor overwhelmed their senses. Their eyes widened in shock as they observed the gruesome scene before them. It looked like a butcher's den. Their horror intensified when they saw Kevin's lifeless body, completely naked and hanging from the basement ceiling by his ankles. The sight was gruesome, with the throat slit and the back marked by knife wounds. Kevin's body bore the marks of unspeakable violence, with large scars covering his skin. The sight was heartbreaking when investigators noticed that Kevin's genitals had been mutilated. Beneath the suspended form lay a pool of dried blood, a sad witness to the duration of his agony. With swift determination, the police had arrested Mark and taken him into custody.
Can we have an update for emergency services?
Oh, Central, this is most likely a KO. We're treating it as a murder.
He was on the ground, right? Because he was still in that position. And I had to move his head because at that point I was practically bent over him.
Did you lean over him? Can you show us how? Let's pretend his head was against that wall. What exactly did you do? Do you want to tell me about it?
I saw that it was dragging on too long. So I took his head and turned it to the side.
Like this.
It was the most I could do at that moment, and at least it caused another spill. It wasn't like the first time. It wasn't a strong spray, but it was more effective.
In this part of the interrogation, the detectives pressed the killer to obtain crucial confirmation about the dynamics of the assault. What Latunski describes as the spray on the wall is not a random detail, but scientific evidence of a clean arterial cut. When the carotid artery is struck, the blood does not flow by gravity, but is expelled by the hydrostatic pressure of the heart. Each heartbeat acts like a pump, projecting the blood with such force as to create what we technically call arterial spray patterns, arterial spurting. The second outflow that Latunski talks about, the less powerful but effective one, indicates that the victim's heart was losing pressure, but the brutal maneuver of turning his head allowed the remaining blood to flow out completely, accelerating the death. It is a description of surgical precision that reveals the killer's total lack of empathy.
When you say the first time spray,
what was seen on the wall? What I mean as the first outflow.
And the second time?
The second time there was almost nothing. At that point I was just thinking, I need to finish this as quickly as possible. After that, I could tell if he was still conscious or not. And there I realized that I needed something else, other means to complete everything. And it was at that moment that I started gathering all the rope I could find to prepare the rest.
Did you have to attach the rope to the ceiling, or was it already there?
No, I was passing the rope through the ring hook because that hook was used for other suspensions. I had tried to suspend it from there. When you do things like that, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Not exactly.
Okay, anyway, yes.
So we are talking about more extreme fetish practices, correct? Fetish can include many different things.
Yes, it can mean many things, but the hook was already there, so I was simply passing the ropes through it.
Did you set up those ropes specifically for Kevin Bacon, or were they there for weeks already?
No, those ropes had never been used before. I prepared them that same night, actually. Before he arrived, I had already set up that rope. We had adapted it for some of the things we were doing.
Oh, I understand.
Also because I was moving sand towards the outer flower bed. So the ropes you saw today, all that mess, is because I had been working on it for days. Whenever I could, I tried to fix everything. I was just trying to make sure everything was perfect to make it work.
And this is precisely where one of the most disturbing aspects of the interrogation emerges. Mark is not trying to deny what he did. He doesn't even try to hide the horror of the scene. What he tries to explain to the investigators is the disorder. He talks about the ropes arranged in detail, the sand to be moved outside, the basement that had to be ready, almost as if his main concern wasn't the death of Kevin Bacon, but the fact that everything had to be perfect. In his mind, everything had to be precise, controlled, organized, even the murder, because the more he talks, the more a greater level of cruelty emerges, and behind that apparent calm, his obsessions, his fantasies, his deep mental disturbances begin to surface.
Earlier you said you wanted to honor him. What exactly did you mean by that?
I had decided to eat his testic. You know, every new moon, I always eat Rocky Mountain oysters. I have a friend who brings them to me once a month. I cut them off and took them up to the kitchen. I put them in the pan with Worcestershire sauce and cooked them.
And this is where the interrogation enters an even more disturbing zone. Mark tries to give meaning to what he did. He talks about honoring Kevin Bacon, about turning that act into something symbolic. But in the minds of many sexual sadists and killers with severe psychological disorders, cannibalism is almost never about respect. It is absolute control. For some of them, eating a part of the victim means possessing them forever, assimilating them, dominating them even after death. It is an extreme form of power, where the boundary between violence, obsession, and mental pleasure completely disappears. And this is precisely what makes Mark's words so unsettling. Because while he describes everything calmly, almost as if it were a ritual, he is actually showing the level of mental distortion reached by his obsession. After years of psychiatric evaluations and continuous delays, Mark Latunski's lawyers initially attempted the insanity defense. For months, the court tried to determine if he was truly capable of standing trial. The judge ordered treatments and psychiatric evaluations to establish if his mind was stable enough to understand what he had done. And, in the end, the doctors declared him fit for trial. But what really shocked everyone came just before the start of the proceedings. Against the advice of his own lawyers, Mark Latunski pleaded guilty. Guilty of the murder of Kevin Bacon, guilty of the mutilations, guilty of the acts of cannibalism described during the interrogation. The judges determined that the murder was premeditated, and in December 2022, Mark Latunski was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. He will spend the rest of his life in prison. But even today, what makes this case so disturbing is not just the brutality of the crime. It's the calm with which Mark spoke about it, as if in his mind everything made sense.